The end for Ukraine and a lifeline for Hamas. It's 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV. 5 things you need to know in about 10 minutes for Thursday, November 20th, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. I apologize for missing yesterday, but I'm afraid this is the new normal for me. The autoimmune issue that I've been dealing with for the last year really saps me of energy at times, and there are days when I just have nothing in the tank. And yesterday, sadly, was one of those days. But today, we are good to go. And so we thank you for allowing us to take some of your time today. Please, if you would, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That is at 5 in 10. If you would, subscribe, share, click that bell for notifications. And, of course, hit the like button. We're also available on Telegram. That is where we've got a new Telegram channel there. And, of course, on X, formerly Twitter, at 5_in_10. Item number 5 today, Mohammed bin Salman, of course, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, was a guest at the White House on Tuesday. President Trump, the mainstream media kind of focusing on his defense of MBS as he was asked about the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi. Now, Jamal Khashoggi is generally referred to by the press as a journalist, a columnist, and a critic of the Saudi kingdom. He was killed in 2019 by Saudi agents inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. What the corporate media doesn't tell you, but what we have told you on this program going back 5-6 years ago, was that Jamal Khashoggi was, in fact, a paid agent of the government of Qatar. And that's why he was so critical of the Saudi kingdom. The Saudis and the Qataris are enemies. And while I'm not condoning the way he was assassinated, Khashoggi was more than a journalist. Journalists like to pretend that he was one of their own. In fact, he probably was, because many in the corporate media are, in fact, assets of the intelligence agencies, not just of foreign nations, but here in our own intelligence agencies. The Washington Post, New York Times, other assets sprinkled throughout the corporate media, spreading the official deep state line. Anyway, President Trump and Mohammed bin Salman agreeing to deals totaling now nearly, more than $500 billion. This is according to Saudi state TV on Wednesday. This includes the sale of F-35 fighter jets to the Saudi kingdom, President Trump announced on Monday. Trump wants Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords and to normalize relations with Israel. Prince Mohammed said that he's open to doing that, but wants to see a path forward for the establishment of a Palestinian state as part of that agreement. Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that's just not going to happen. And another new survey this week confirming what I told you last week, that 70% of the Israeli Republic, or the Israeli public that is, now opposes the creation of an independent Palestinian state. Hamas overplayed its hands. 60% of Israelis were in favor of a Palestinian state prior to October 7th of 2023 because they thought it would bring peace. Now you've got 70% of Israelis, which means you've got people from all, left and right, in agreement on this particular issue. That leads to item number 4 today, Gaza, which is giving Hamas what it wants. There was a Stephen King novel that was turned into a miniseries years ago called Storm of the Century, where a character shows up and basically tells the people of this town that's subjected to these horrific supernatural events, give me what I want and I'll go away. Well, that appears to be what Hamas is doing here, and the world is saying, okay, as the United Nations Security Council voted Tuesday to establish an international security force. They're doing this despite the fact that Hamas has refused to comply with the terms of President Trump's 20-point peace plan, which included disarming. It's clear that Hamas has not and does not intend to disarm. This would very likely, the fact that the world is proceeding and pushing forward with this plan, in spite of the fact that Hamas is not going along with with the agreement, would likely embolden other fundamentalist Islamic terrorists to commit violent acts around the world. And in fact, we're already seeing that Hamas is raising its head in Europe. Mossad officials revealing that they exposed and dismantled a network of Hamas operatives there. They made this announcement on Wednesday, according to Prime Minister Netanyahu's office. The months-long investigation involved collaboration between Mossad, which is Israel's equivalent of the CIA, and other intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies across Europe, including Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands. This resulted in multiple arrests, the discovery and seizure of a weapons arsenal, including pistols and explosive devices set to use on command by Hamas operatives. So Hamas, even though Gaza has essentially been crushed, is still active in the Gaza Strip, but is also now on the verge of activating operatives in other parts of the world. And even with that, the UN voting to proceed with the Gaza peace plan. Item number 3 today, Ukraine. It looks like for the first time, United States has decided to get serious about ending the war in Ukraine. It's now telling Ukraine to offer territorial concessions to Russia. The Trump White House leaning on President Zelensky to accept. According to the Financial Times, quote, according to people with direct knowledge of the document, the draft plan would require Ukraine to cede the remainder of the eastern Donbass region, including land currently under the control of Ukraine, and cut the size of its armed forces by half. Crucially, it also calls for Ukraine to abandon key categories of weaponry and would include the rollback of U.S. military assistance that's been vital in its defense, potentially leaving the country vulnerable to future Russian aggression. It would also stipulate that Russian be recognized as an official state language in Ukraine and grant official status to the local branch of the Russian Orthodox Church, end quote. There are members of the Russian Orthodox Church that have actually been arrested by the Zelensky government, which is also embroiled in a scandal now as corruption is once again making the news in Ukraine. It appears that some very members of Zelensky's inner circle could be implicated in this corruption scandal. We'll have more to say about that on tomorrow's 5 in 10. This 28-point plan being put forward by President Trump calls for Russia to gain full de facto control of the Donbass. Those are the regions of Luhansk and Donetsk. This is sure to be controversial in Europe because the European Union seems willing to continue this fight to the last Ukrainian. But President Trump pushing forward and leaning on President Zelensky to bring this senseless war to an end. Item number 2 today, nukes. Bloomberg reporting that the U.S. government plans to buy and own as many as 10 new large nuclear reactors. This could be paid for by the $550 billion in funding that Japan recently promised to the United States. This is part of a government push to meet existing or growing demands for electricity pushed by data centers and artificial intelligence. There are warnings now of a shortage of electricity needed for these data centers. It's also driving up the cost of electricity for us residential consumers because we're now competing with these data centers for available power on the grid. It has been more than 10 years since the United States put a new large-scale nuclear plant online. There's still a lot of questions about how these will be financed, where they'll be built, but we also note that there's a lot of investment going into the development of modular nuclear reactors. Small nuclear plants are going to be placed on site near data centers. So between that and bringing coal plants back online because they do produce affordable and dependable energy needed by AI data centers, it appears that artificial intelligence is putting an end to the dreams of the green energy activists. Coming up, more proof that archaeology is cool. Another discovery by our friend Dr. Scott Stripling. We will talk about that next on 5 in 10.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you that Skywatch TV is a viewer-supported ministry, and right now, when you partner with us, your support not only helps us stay on the air, it also enables us to continue the mission through our networks and digital platforms, reach areas of the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ that are unable to support us financially. Right now, while supplies last, for your donation of only $29.99 or more, we're not only going to send you AI for Mankind's Future, a Christian perspective on the high-tech revolution, but we're also going to send you Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis's best-selling books, Kings of the East, China's Plan to Eliminate America and Impose a Communist World Order, and the incredibly patriotic Give Me Liberty, Not Marxism. These amazing works, sold separately, hold a retail value of over $60. Yours now for your donation of only $29.99 or more, which includes free shipping to all U.S. addresses. Your support helps Skywatch TV continue reaching the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. You can also visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the AI for Humankind's Future special offer right now.
Item number 1 today. You might remember the Gerasene demoniac identifying himself as Legion, for we are many. Where exactly did the herd of pigs go into the sea? Well, somewhere on the east side of the Sea of Galilee, but Dr. Scott Stripling, our friend and director of excavations for the Association for Biblical Research, believes he's found it based on textual clues, geography, and ruins in the city of Kursi. That's Kursi. It's on the east side of the Sea of Galilee. And this seems to fit. According to Scott, the town of Kursi on the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee, based on reports from an excavation done back in 1985, shows that there was a stone breakwater there, very large stone breakwaters, and a large fish pond. And from that port, according to Scott, every biblical detail is matched within about a 200-meter radius. In other words, about the length of, say, 2 football fields. You've got everything that's described in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, where you find the stories of the Gerasene demoniac. Steep cliff near the water, nearby cemetery, and, of course, a port, because Jesus was confronted by this guy, or in one of the Gospels, it's 2 men, as soon as he gets off the boat. So there had to be a port there. And again, this location, the ancient city of Kursi, meets all of those descriptions. But what's even more interesting is that the 10th Roman Legion, which later was part of the Roman detachment that finally took the citadel at Masada, had a garrison near the Gerasene, the region of Gerasa or Gadara, depending on which gospel you read. And the emblem of the 10th Legion is a boar, a wild pig. In the gospel account, of course, you know that there was a herd of pigs nearby, and the demons begged Jesus not to send them into the abyss, so he allowed them to go into the herd of pigs, which then rushed down the hillside into the Sea of Galilee, where they drowned. According to Scott, this Gentile man, the one who was possessed, possibly a failed recruit or a laborer, was tormented by forces that reflect Roman oppression. The pigs weren't just livestock, they were a military supply. And the destruction of the pigs was a powerful act of spiritual and symbolic confrontation, end quote. So Scott, who's done some remarkable work in biblical archaeology, finding the curse tablet at Joshua's altar on Mount Ebal, and the location of the tabernacle at Shiloh, now identifying the location of Jesus' confrontation with the demonic horde that called itself Legion. Archaeology is cool. This week on Skywatch TV, we are talking about artificial intelligence. Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, who is always extremely insightful. All of his books are well worth adding to your reference library, because he sees what's coming, not just from a military perspective, but also from a biblical, prophetic perspective. His new book, AI for Humanity's Future, the topic this week on Skywatch TV. We were honored to be on the panel for that. You can watch the program right now at skywatchtv.com. You can also watch it over the air. Our broadcast schedule is at skywatchtv.com/channels. Now, we can broadcast on your schedule. Make things convenient for yourself by adding the Skywatch TV channel to your smart TV or set-top box, whether it's Google TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV. We've got channels for all of those. Just go to the App Store, relevant for your device, add it to your channel, add it to your TV, and we'll be good to go. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@skywatchtelevision. Please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button, rumble.com/skywatchtv, or download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. We've got versions for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire devices, and links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. And, of course, you can follow 5 and 10 online. Again, we're on YouTube at 5 and 10. Subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button. Telegram, look up our channel there, and please subscribe to it. And, of course, subscribe to us on X as well. Follow us there at 5_in_10. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 and 10 from Skywatch TV.